Hi guys, welcome back to my channel Lush Gardener. In today's video we are going to be talking about outdoor versus indoor succulents. Now guys, if you are thinking about growing succulents and if you want to know whether they are good indoors or outdoors, I would always suggest that outdoor is the best option. Now of course it's not the same for everyone. Like as you'll all know, in my city the environment is very pleasant, so I tend to grow my succulents outdoor throughout the year. I do not have any issues, but it might not be the same for everyone. Some people have extreme temperatures either during winters or during summers, or probably both. So in that case you don't have much option to grow your succulents outdoor, and you have to even if you do not like it, you'll have to grow them indoor under a good quality of grow light. But whether it's outdoor, whether it's indoor, both have their advantages and disadvantages, and that's what we are going to talk a little bit in this video. Let's start with outdoor. Now of course let's start with the advantages of keeping your succulents outdoor. Now succulents in general are succulents that tend to grow in open, so outdoors are going to be fantastic for them. They are going to thrive really well. They are going to be very healthy because the soil is going to dry much faster because of the external factors. There is going to be a good amount of air circulation. There is natural light. You do not need to switch on of the lights. I mean the succulents are completely acclimatized to the environment, and they are going to grow quite well and they're going to be very healthy. The disadvantages would be if you are a beginner, you do not know exactly how much of sunlight to give. If you give a little bit excess sunlight, the succulents might get burnt if they're not acclimated. If you keep them in less light, they might happen to stretch. So you basically need to have a balance when you're giving light. Watering again, the soil will dry much faster outside, but again you have to be a little bit more careful the type of soil mix that you prepare. Apart from that, bugs are going to be a very regular visitation to your plants. They are going to visit to your plants quite often, especially if the succulent is weak or if the succulent has a bloom stalk. You might happen to see mealybugs or aphids. Your succulents might even get affected with snails or caterpillars if they are in and around your garden. So these are all the drawbacks of growing your succulents outdoor. But if you're going to weigh advantage versus disadvantage, I think there is more advantage of growing your succulents outdoor. Now talking about indoor, now of course not everyone is going to have the same environment. As I said, probably you belong to a place wherein during winters you have heavy snowfall, and there is a risk of your succulents coming in contact with the frost, and a frost settling on your succulents, which is extremely dangerous and can be fatal to your succulents, especially the echeverias and the graptovarias, graptopetalums. I'm not talking about sempervivums, because sempervivums are frost hardy. There are few succulents that are frost hardy, not all of them, and echeverias, graptovarias and graptopetalums are not frost hardy, so they will definitely get damaged and even get rotted if you're going to leave them outdoor. And the same thing goes with people who are from a place wherein the summers are very extreme. If the heat is too much, the succulent will again have issues, either getting burnt, dehydrated, or having a dry rot. So in that case you have not much option rather than growing your succulents indoor under a good quality of grow light. So your succulents will not be influenced by the external factors. When we talk about external factors, that is temperatures, because as we have spoken about this earlier as well, if there is a rise in temperature or if there is a decrease in temperature, the succulents will go dormant according to that. So you do not need to be worried about that, because indoor the environment or the climate or the temperature is going to be a constant temperature. It won't be quite high or it won't be quite low, due to which it won't trigger dormancy or non-dormancy. So that is a good thing, because a lot of people do not like their succulents to go dormant. So that is going to work out really well. Apart from that, pest attack and your succulents being eaten by snails or caterpillars is going to be very, very less. Unless you have just got your succulents in without checking them, then that could be a problem. But overall, if you're growing them indoor, you do not have to be worried about any caterpillars or snails, or even for that matter slugs eating your succulents. Now talking about the disadvantages, there would be a few of them. One is that the grow light that you have selected has to be of a good quality. If you're going to buy a poor quality, or if you're going to buy a grow light that does not have a good intensity, then your succulents will start to stretch. Apart from that, you have to ensure what are the succulents that you're keeping closer to the grow light and what are the succulents that you're going to keep a little bit away, because this requires a little bit of experience. You cannot put your haworthia right under the grow light, or you cannot put a succulent that does not need a lot of light right under the grow light. That might kind of have a negative effect on it. Whereas if you're going to keep an echeveria, you cannot keep an echeveria quite away from the grow light. It will start to stretch. You will have to keep it more closer to the grow light. This problem will not arise if you're keeping your succulents outdoor, because you can either keep it in direct sunlight or you can keep it in indirect bright light. You do not need to monitor anything. But over here, this is one disadvantage, that you have to keep checking if things are working out really well. Initially, it is going to be a little tricky to understand, but as and when you get experience of how much light the succulent requires, then it's going to be much easy for you to handle them. Another disadvantage is related with watering. You have to ensure that your soil tends to dry out faster, because when you're growing your succulents indoor, there are no external factors, so the soil is going to take a while for it to dry. So you have to ensure that you check your soil properly before you water. You can use a toothpick or a stick to just poke, like how you usually tend to check for the cake. You have to just poke the stick into the soil and check. If the stick comes out dry, that means that your soil mix is completely bone dry. So that is something that you'll have to check. And now initially, I know every now and then to check the soil is big issue, but that is initial stage, because once you get a hang of it, then you do not need to do it every now and then. You'll have a fair idea. This is just for the initial stage. Like for example, if you're doing this for the first time, if you're getting your succulents indoor for the first time, probably this was your first year of growing succulents, and you do not know how to check whether the soil is dry or not, you do not have a moisture meter, then this is one of the easiest method. Initially you can do it, but once you get or gain experience, then you do not need to poke the stick every now and then into the soil. Another issue with growing succulents indoor would be the air circulation. Air circulation is the most important thing. Outdoor succulents get a good amount of airflow. There is a good amount of air circulation. Indoor, that could be a problem. A lot of people tend to use electric fans, or again with electric fans, if your soil mix is very loose, it might happen to fly off. But again, you need to keep it at a distance. So there is a lot of things when it comes to growing your succulents indoor. You have to have a good amount of airflow or air circulation. If there is restricted airflow, then that could lead to either mold or fungus. So you have to consider a lot of things when you are growing your succulents indoor. I've also heard that people tend to use heating mats or heaters as well inside the house. So I'm not very familiar with that, because I have never grown my succulents indoor. So these are all the factors of growing succulents indoor. It's not very easy as compared to growing your succulents outdoor. So now the reason why I was making this video, because there are a lot of people who have an option of growing the succulents outdoor. Like in my city itself, there are a lot of people who are growing succulents, and they have an upper hand in growing their succulents outdoor, but they still want to grow their succulents indoor because for aesthetic reason, because they want to look at their succulent every now and then. Just because of that, guys, don't grow your succulents indoor. You only grow your succulents indoor when your external factors are not helping you grow the succulent, probably for the extreme climate reasons of the extreme temperatures. Now I also have a lot of challenges during the monsoon season, but I still do not move my succulents indoor. I put a plastic sheet and I ensure that they are comfortable, they are not getting wet because of the rain. But a lot of people think that, okay, I want to grow a succulent near a work table because I will feel a little bit more focused. If you want to grow a succulent near the work table, you will also have to provide it with good amount of light. I have seen people getting a succulent arrangement and just keeping it in the living room. It is not going to work out. You need to give the exact conditions or similar conditions what they tend to get outdoor. You cannot randomly put a plant in any corner of the house and expect it to be brightly colored and not stretch. It is not going to happen, because there is a lot of things that go behind that. You have to replicate the environment that the succulent has outdoor. You have to kind of replicate that environment indoor. Only then your succulents are either going to have that beautiful color, they are going to stay compact, and they will grow healthy without stretching. So guys, at the end of the video, all I can say is, if you have an option of growing your succulents outdoor, don't think twice, grow them outdoor. If you do not have that option, then indoor is the only option. Again, it's not that both of the environments are going to be very extreme. Probably your winters could be extreme and the summers could be quite good. So when the winters have gone off, you can get your succulents out and grow them. If you want to grow them indoor just because you want to see them, or maybe because you do not have a lot of space outdoor, or probably you do not get a lot of light then you will have to grow them indoor, but you have to ensure that you go through all this process. It is going to be a little hectic, but then if you want to have succulents to be grown indoor, then you will have to take that little bit of pain. So guys, that's all about it. I hope that this video was helpful to you. If it was, please hit the like button, and if you're new to my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Until then, take care, stay safe, and keep planting.